Hey everyone, it's Alexander Robinson. Welcome to the channel, and today is part 2 of my physical media collection that includes DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4K discs. Now this video is going to be dedicated solely to box sets. I know in the last video I did showcase a couple of box sets like the Fast and the Furious, Die Hard, Harry Potter, Shrek, and Star Wars, but these are the big ones. These are the box sets that you put on your wish list, you hope your friends or family gets them for you for Christmas, birthday, or just because they love you, only to find out that years have gone by, they're never going to get them for you, so you might as well get them yourselves. These are the kinds of box sets I'm talking about. Now, just like with the last video, I'm going to show these box sets in alphabetical order, and let's just start things off with two box sets that are very similar to one another. The Alfred Hitchcock Masterpiece Collection. This is the DVD, and this is the Blu-ray. They're mostly identical. I mean, this DVD has 14 movies, and this one has an additional one in North by Northwest, but they both have different booklets, and I really love the case for the DVD here. It's got this really nice layout. It's got a little door that you can open to get the movies, and then you can just easily close it up. And of course it's great to upgrade to Blu-ray because these movies look incredible, and I really do love the kind of book-like Blu-ray cases that Universal made. This was actually released during their 100th anniversary, where they were dedicated to restoring all their major classics on Blu-ray, and yeah, this is just stellar. I'm still hanging on to this DVD set because it just looks so nice, and it goes to show you that sometimes things are worth keeping rather than just flat out replacing. Next up, I have the Alien Anthology on Blu-ray. This came out in 2010. It's a little dusty, but it's a fantastic box set. Mainly got it because of Alien and Aliens. For historical reasons, it's good that Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection are on there, but I used to own Prometheus, but I've just kind of not really enjoyed that movie over time, so I got rid of that Blu-ray. And I don't own Alien Covenant, nor do I want to own Alien Covenant, but I would like to upgrade Alien and Aliens to 4K at some point. And that's something I should mention with the Alfred Hitchcock box set. Even though I already own some of my favorite movies from his, I would like to upgrade Rear Window, The Birds, North by Northwest, and Psycho to 4K at some point. Maybe Vertigo, but that's not in my 100 favorite movies list. Next up, Avatar: The Last Airbender. This is the complete series on Blu-ray, and I imagine some of you may have been disappointed that when I showed off the 2 James Cameron films that this wasn't in there, but it is. I just needed to pair it up with these mega box sets. But I love this show. I have not seen Legend of Korra, but I hate the M. Night movie. I'm curious on the new live-action series that they're going to make. I already showcased the 25th anniversary Blu-ray set for the Back to the Future trilogy, and now I present to you with the 30th anniversary collector set. Not only does this come with the 30th anniversary release of the trilogy, but also, and I reviewed this 2 years ago, the animated series on DVD. This is how I pretty much got to watch all the episodes for that review. And again, I love Back to the Future so much that I just want to keep every edition that I own on home media, including the 35th anniversary 4K Steelbook set. I normally don't collect Steelbooks, but considering with the Back to the Future trilogy that the Steelbooks basically form the DeLorean, I had to get it. And plus, it's Back to the Future. It's my favorite movie of all time. Alright, so Batman time. I've got the Batman Adam West TV show on Blu-ray. This is the limited edition. I know there was a standard edition that didn't come with like books or a little Hot Wheels Batmobile. One day I want to watch this entire show and review it because I've seen several episodes. I think it's just a ton of fun, and it would make for a really great review. I mean, the 60th anniversary is coming up in 2026, so maybe then that'll be the best time to review it. Not to mention that it'll give me a couple years to actually catch up on those episodes. But moving on, I do have the Batman Motion Picture Anthology set, which includes all the movies from Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher. I, of course, have the Dark Knight Trilogy because as a Batman fan, and with The Dark Knight being my favorite of those movies, I couldn't go without this, even if The Dark Knight Rises is meh. And I also own the limited edition collector set of the Dark Knight Trilogy. This came out a year after Rises. I actually reviewed this on a now defunct website called Geeked Out Nation, but this comes with an extra bonus disc that has a great conversation between Christopher Nolan and Richard Donner, who directed the original Superman film. So that alone I think was worth getting this set here. Also, another set that I thought was really worth getting was Bond 50. This basically consists of the first 50 years of Bond, all the movies from Dr. No to Quantum of Solace, and there was even a little empty space for Skyfall, which when I bought Skyfall on Blu-ray, I actually got rid of the regular packaging and put it right in here. I had no interest in getting Spectre or No Time to Die at all because I thought Skyfall was just the perfect end to Daniel Craig's Bond, and I actually wanted to review the Sean Connery movies last year since it was the 60th anniversary of Dr. No, but I didn't have the time. Whenever the next Bond movie comes out, when we get a new actor, I would love to do a series of retro reviews for all the Bond movies pre-Daniel Craig, because I have not seen most of them. Next up, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is the complete series on DVD. I made it halfway through season 4, but just kind of stopped because some other things were occupying my life. And also I have the spin-off show Angel, which I've only made it through season 1. I actually do love both these shows, but considering that each episode is an hour long and most of the seasons are over 20 episodes long, it takes a lot of commitment, so one day I'd like to get back onto finishing both Buffy and Angel. Here's an interesting one that I didn't know where to actually categorize it, so I'll categorize it based off the first name of this set. The Cold War Creatures from 4 films from Sam Katzman. This was released by Arrow. It comes with Creature with the Atomic Brain, The Werewolf, Zombies of Maratau, and the reason I actually bought this set, The Giant Claw, which I already reviewed on this channel last year. It was one of the 2 horror-themed reviews that I was able to get out before I caught COVID. Next up is my favorite TV show of all time, Community, the complete series on Blu-ray. I absolutely adore every bit of this show. Even with season 4, I can definitely see why it's the weakest of the seasons, but I don't think it's straight up bad. It's much like with Cars 2. It's bad by Community standards, but as an average season, it's just fine. Another release from Arrow, the Daimajin Trilogy on Blu-ray. This is a trilogy of samurai kaiju films that was released by Daiei in 1966. All 3 movies came out in 1966. It's from the same studio that created the Gamera films, and also the music was done by Akira Ifukube. I have not seen these, but I've been recommended by so many people to see them because I'm a giant monster movie fan. So one day, this is the Friday the 13th like tin steel book edition. It's not really a steel book, but it comes in a tin case. And I also have the Shout Factory or Scream Factory Blu-ray set, which contains the unrated version of Jason Goes to Hell. And this is the set that I mostly used when reviewing the Friday the 13th movies back in 2020. And it's an amazing set, but this one here had the benefit of coming with a digital code for all 12 movies. And plus, it's such a cool cover and just cool sound that I want to hang on to it. Next up is the show that will never die, Futurama. Now, this is the incomplete series, since once again, much like with Star Wars and Indiana Jones, Disney had to go and make the complete DVD set that I have here incomplete. But I'm actually looking forward to the new Hulu season. I love the show as is. Sometimes I might like it more than The Simpsons, but it's just it's so funny, it's so clever. Bender is the true MVP of this entire show. I talked about Gamera in the last video I did showing off my home media collection. Now I'm going to talk about Gamera again because I have the Showa era Blu-ray set. This once again comes from Arrow, and it's just a nice way to upgrade all the movies to Blu-ray. And then I also have the Heisei era on Blu-ray as well. This set comes packed with bonus features, including audio commentaries on all 3 of the movies, with Guardian of the Universe having a commentary by Matt Frank, the same artist that did the cover for this, and who I've seen on SpillOneOfUs.net, and Revenge of Iris has a commentary by Steve Reifel and Ed Gazuszewski, the 2 men who were actually responsible for me getting into audio commentaries. and learning more about the Godzilla franchise in terms of behind-the-scenes production and film history. And then, of course, this also comes with Gamera the Brave, the only movie in the series made in this new millennium. Although we've got the Gamera Rebirth series on Netflix coming out, which I am hyped for. I am so excited for that, even if some of the creatives involved worked on the Godzilla anime trilogy on Netflix, which I don't like at all. Speaking of Godzilla, I've got the Godzilla collection. This is a DVD set from Classic Media, and while I do own the show-off films on Blu-ray through the Criterion collection, the reason I still hang on to this is because for the original Godzilla, the commentaries on here are done, once again, by Steve Ryfle and Ed Gajewski, and on the Criterion Blu-ray, they're done by David Callett. And his commentaries are fantastic as well, but it's nice to hold on to these commentaries as well. And plus, with the other films, Godzilla Raids Again, Mothra vs. Godzilla, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, and so on, they each have their own bonus features and the US version, which the Criterion Blu-ray does not. So, once again, proof that you don't need to throw away your DVDs when upgrading to Blu-ray. Next up, and once again from Scream Factory, the Halloween incomplete collection, because this time Universal had to make this set incomplete. I already showed you the 2018 movie in the last video, but this is all the movies prior. The original Halloween, which I had to own on Blu-ray, and then everything else that came before, and this was actually the Blu-ray set that I used when I reviewed the Halloween movies back in 2018. Next up, Harry Potter the Hogwarts collection. While I do own the 8-film collection, this one is more jam-packed with bonus features and just contains a lot more than the other Blu-ray set that I have had. Plus, this is one of those sets that you just want to display on your shelf. You want to have it face forward so people can point at and go, wow, that's cool. The Adventures of Indiana Jones DVD set, and this only contains the first 3 movies. This was released before talks of a 4th movie even began, and this was the very first time I saw the movies. I remember seeing Raiders of the Lost Ark for the first time on this DVD. A friend of mine basically watched Temple of Doom a lot. Because of nostalgia reasons, I just have no desire to get rid of this. And I imagine some people who want to pretend Crystal Skull doesn't exist don't want to get rid of this either. Another DVD set that I have is the King Kong collection. Now this contains the 1933 classic, Son of Kong, and Mighty Joe Young. And I want to upgrade King Kong to Blu-ray so badly. I mean, this year's the 90th anniversary of King Kong, so it'd be the best opportunity to release a new updated Blu-ray on it, or even 4K, because the Blu-ray that came out years ago is impossible to find. Up next, the Lord of the Rings Extended Edition on Blu-ray. I showed you my theatrical DVDs, and now I have the Extended Edition on Blu-ray. I've only seen the Two Towers Extended Edition. I've not watched Fellowship of the Ring or Return of the King in their extended forms. And I'm debating on whether or not to use this version for when I review the films later this year, because I might stick with the theatrical, but no, I'll use these. I'll use the extended versions when I review the films. I used the extended version when I reviewed Avatar last year, and I used the extended version when I reviewed King Kong. Yes, I did. So I might as well play fair with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Here's a special one right here. This is the limited edition Phase 1 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe box set. This basically comes with a whole lot of goodies. It's designed to the suitcase that held the Tesseract in the first Avengers. And the way the movies are actually packaged are pretty unique. They come in these little, if I can get them out properly, they come in these little, like, CD slipcovers with some really cool box art. This was the Avengers, Iron Man, and then Captain America the First Avenger, which for some reason the back of it is a bit warped. I don't know how well you can see it, but the back is bent a bit, which is not particularly good. I might have to flatten this somewhere for a period of time so it just warps back into shape. Now next up, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. This is a DVD that I have, and the only reason it wasn't featured in the last video is because it didn't fit on the shelf, so I figured to just bundle it up with the other mega box sets that I have. I want to upgrade this to Blu-ray at some point because this movie kills me. I recently saw it at the Alamo Drafthouse again last year, and it is just so funny. Next up, the Pink Panther DVD set. Now this only contains 6 movies. The Pink Panther, A Shot in the Dark, which is my favorite, The Pink Panther Strikes Again, which is the first one I saw, Revenge of the Pink Panther, and Trail of the Pink Panther, which is not all that good. This isn't even all the movies that came out prior to Steve Martin's remake, but this is a cool box set in the way that it feels. And it's kind of basically like a leather book in a way. Not leather, but it has a unique texture to it. I'd like to upgrade these to Blu-ray because I know Shout Factory released something like this on Blu-ray. Next up, Rambo, the complete collector set on DVD. This contains all the movies from First Blood to 2008's Rambo, and I'm just going to keep pretending that Rambo Last Blood doesn't exist because I despise that movie so much. The Sergio Leone anthology set on DVD. Now this does contain the Dollars trilogy, which I showcased in the last video, but this also has Duck You Sucker, aka A Fistful of Dynamite, which I've not seen. I still hang on to this just because of that fourth movie that it comes with. Season 14 of The Simpsons on DVD. This wasn't featured in the last video because, well, the way the box is designed, like, I can't fit it on a shelf properly, so I just put it to the side. Out of all the later seasons, once they got to double digits, this might be the most memorable for me. The first 100 episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants on DVD. Anybody from my generation grew up with this show. It's absolutely funny, and occasionally I'll just pop this on every now and then to get a good laugh. Next up, Star Trek the original series on Blu-ray, and this box set has certainly seen better days because this side right here, it's starting to fall apart, but yeah, this show is, I've not seen every episode, but it is Star Trek, so I want to try to check it out at some point. Then I own the original motion picture series, which contains Motion Picture, Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, Voyage Home, Final Frontier, and Undiscovered Country. And even though I don't own the Next Generation on Blu-ray, I do have the Next Generation films. Star Trek Generations, First Contact, Insurrection, and Nemesis. I've not seen any of these, but I have seen a handful of these. Next up, the Star Wars Trilogy on DVD. Why do I still own this? Well, I have a legitimately good reason why. Because I first bought the set in 2004 when it first came out on DVD. Something happened to where that DVD set was stolen, and since then, I've just been buying the Star Wars DVDs individually. And if you remember in 2006, they started releasing the trilogy individually on DVD, which contained the 2004 edition, but also on bonus discs had the unaltered versions of each of the films. So I had the original unaltered trilogy on DVD and the 2004 editions, but one day at Amoeba Music I found this box set. Wanted to get it mainly because of the bonus disc here. So what I ended up doing was buying this set, keeping the bonus disc, getting rid of the other DVDs that came in that set, and then putting the DVDs that I had containing the unaltered versions in this DVD set here. So basically it's pretty much the ultimate Star Wars Trilogy DVD set that anyone can own. I don't know why they didn't reissue this box set with the unaltered versions. I guess because George Lucas had such a thing against the unaltered versions to begin with that he was reluctant to release them at first. That's why when you watch the unaltered versions on a widescreen TV, it doesn't fill the screen unless you zoom in. But yeah, that's why I still own this. Next up is the Steven Spielberg Director's Collection. Now this obviously contains movies like Jaws, E.T., Jurassic Park, and The Lost World, surprisingly. But it also comes with his TV movie Duel, his first feature-length film Sugarland Express, his big flop 1941, and Always, which I'd never seen. I mean, in fact, all those movies I have not seen myself, which is the main reason why I wanted to pick up this set so I could watch those movies for the first time. Especially Duel, because I've heard fantastic things about it. But yeah, it's another box set where I own a different version of Jaws, E.T., and Jurassic Park. And The Lost World. Here's something unique. Stranger Things Season 1 and 2. These were actually Target exclusives and they were designed as VHS covers. Season 1 was designed like those slip-in, slip-out VHS tapes, and then Season 2 is designed to where you open it up and then close them up. So these are unique. They never actually released Season 3 on Blu-ray, and again, these were Target exclusives, so if they did, I must have missed them, but I'm 100% positive that they didn't release season 3 on Blu-ray, and I sure know they didn't release season 4, which I still need to see myself. Next up, the Superman motion picture anthology, which contains all the movies from Richard Donner's Superman up to Bryan Singer's Superman Returns. I actually did own Superman 1 and 2 on DVD, but the DVD for Superman 2 didn't come with the Richard Donner cut, and this was a nice way to get both the Donner cut and the theatrical cut to Superman 2, and plus Superman 1 on Blu-ray. Even if it means I have to own Superman 4 The Quest for Peace, this was certainly worth it. Next up, the Tarantino XX film collection. This contains all of his movies from Reservoir Dogs up to Inglourious Bastards, but including True Romance, which Tony Scott directed and Tarantino wrote the script for. I have certain opinions on Tarantino later in life in terms of his career, but I love Pulp Fiction, and I think he's such an important figure when it comes to film that I need to see his other movies. And the box set is certainly, it's a gorgeous box set to look at. The artwork is just stunning all around. I know he's got one more movie under his belt, apparently about a film critic, so I think it would be so poetic that whenever that film comes out, I review his entire filmography. Ben Affleck's The Town. This is my favorite of Ben Affleck's directorial efforts. And it's weird that this movie was only 2 years old before they came out with this really detailed box set. Like it came with a file book, a booklet, 3 different versions of the actual movie itself. So usually you wait around 10 years before you release a super special version like this. Like right now would have been the perfect time to release a version of The Town like this. But instead they just put it out in 2 years, and I certainly bought it on day one. Next up, I got Transformers G1. This is the complete DVD set from Shout Factory. I showed you the movie on Blu-ray, and I have the series on DVD. It's corny fun. It's stupid, but I love it for how ridiculous it gets. Next up, I've got the Universal Monsters Essential Set. Much like with the Alfred Hitchcock Masterpiece Collection Blu-ray set, this was released around Universal's 100th anniversary, and it basically contains the most important films in the Universal Monsters legacy, like Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Wolfman, Bride of Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, the Claude Rains Phantom of the Opera, strangely enough, which I always assumed that the Lon Chaney Phantom of the Opera was the most regarded. But anyway, and Creature from the Black Lagoon. So this is a perfect set to get if you want to watch the essential Universal Monster films. However, that almost slipped out. If you're a completionist like me, this set is just stunning. This is all 30 movies that Universal considers to be within the Universal Monsters pantheon. So this goes all the way from the original Dracula up to The Creature Walks Among Us. And I've been trying to dedicate a Halloween where I just review all the Universal Monsters, but I need a lot of prep time because I've not seen all these movies. With the exception of Phantom of the Opera, I've seen all the essential ones, but all the stuff in between, I have not. So I'm gonna need maybe a full year to watch all these movies if I'm going to review them for a Halloween series. Next up, West Side Story on Blu-ray. This is the 50th anniversary edition, and I love the Steven Spielberg movie, and I've been trying to find several moments to review this original film on this channel. And every time I just kind of miss that opportunity. But one of the great things about reviewing older films is that you don't really have to wait for a specific moment to review them. You don't have to wait for, oh, this movie's coming out, I'll review this movie right here. I mean, franchise films, sure, that works because you want to play into YouTube's algorithm, but any classic film like this, I don't need to wait, so I will be reviewing this soon. I promise you that. Within sometime next year, I will say that right now. So that was West Side Story that began with a W. Last up, I want to go back to the U section because I want to show you my crown jewel of, well, one of my crown jewels of my Blu-ray DVD 4K collection, the Universal 100th Anniversary set. I briefly showed this off in a video of its own, and for me, this is just the holy grail of my collection because Universal did a stellar job with restoring all their movies for the 100th anniversary, and this is pretty much the culmination. It contains movies, of course it has movies like Jaws, Back to the Future, E.T., Jurassic Park, movies that I already own. It has Dracula, but also has some movies that I never saw until this set, like Buck Privates, Pillow Talk, Out of Africa, Do the Right Thing. In fact, when I got this set for Christmas, I made it a mission statement to review all the movies in this set, and I've been doing that for most of 2014 and even 2015, but somewhere along the way I just stopped. I did review Mamma Mia, which is in this set when the sequel came out. The only movie in the set that I have not reviewed is The Bourne Identity. So once I review Bourne Identity, I will have reviewed every movie in this set. But yeah, this and one other set that I have talked about beforehand is like the holy grail of my home media collection. This is the one set that I will never get rid of. I am hanging on to this set for dear life. And there you go. Those are the big mega box sets that I own on DVD, Blu-ray, and even 4K. If you want to know what the other set in my collection is that I consider to be the holy grail, it would be the Godzilla Showa series Criterion Blu-ray set, which I have reviewed on the channel a couple years back, but didn't show off in this video because I want to save my Criterions for a separate video. This will be the last one that I do in terms of my home media collection because I figured Criterion is special enough that it warrants its own video. So tune in next week when I show off my Criterion Blu-rays. But until then, I want to know what you guys think about these box sets. Which one of these are your favorites? Which ones do you own or not own? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button to get notifications. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, Threads. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day and take care of yourselves.